there is a plasma that goes beyond the fourth state of matter. It is a finer, kind of neutral, dimensionless. It's the substance that makes up your dreams, if you think about it. So it is a multidimensional, living, sentient ether fabric of our reality. And it can be, it's the vehicle for consciousness, for intelligence, for information. So plasma, the more you work with it, the more you recognize it, the more it sees you. So it's just about setting the intention, connecting with it, connecting with your inner plasma, your magic power, being in relationship with reality. And I can't really say what magic powers people have because they're very unique. All I know is that whatever's meant for you and your highest good, you'll start having magic powers.
I am so excited for you guys to hear today's episode with Dana Kippel. She is an author, a filmmaker, and a pioneer in the study of plasma. And she teaches all about what plasma actually is and how it is a bridge between dimensions. She dives deep in her new book. It's amazing. A New Force. Highly recommend. It's like this giant textbook. There's so much in here. I have made my way through it. I'm going back through it. But if you love energy and love the bridge between science and spirituality, you're going to love this. Dana also teaches monthly magic classes, which I recommend checking out. But in this episode, we dive deep into what plasma actually is and how you can take your understanding of plasma and apply it into your life to really co-create your reality and align with your true self and align with your joy. So I think you guys are really going to love this, and we'll put all of her links below so you can check out this book and check out more of her work because I'm sure you're going to want to learn more about it. In this episode, we are talking a lot about a different language for what I talk about on the show, which is energy. And if you are somebody who is interested in learning to work with energy, to learn to work with your energy field, to work with plasma, I would really recommend checking out my Next Level You program. It is a full library of guided meditations and energy work. And why that's important is it's not just meditating, it is using meditation to move your energy field. So I have recorded energy work practices so you can do this at home. And the way I describe it is you're working with your energy fields. Dana might describe it as you are working with plasma. But either way, I think if you enjoy this episode, I would definitely recommend checking that out. You can go to christinathechannel.com/membership and check out a 7-day free trial. Either way, I know you guys are going to love this episode. So let's go ahead and jump in with Dana. How does it feel to have it out? Yeah. I mean, it's like textbook.
It is a textbook. I actually, to the Library of Congress, the color version, I put as a college textbook.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can teach it in the future.
Wow.
Yes. So but it actually feels weirdly normal.
Yeah.
Like, I will say, like, I always have this happen. I fantasize about everything in my future. And it's almost like when your nervous system can't like hold that success yet. And then every time something happens, it's almost like your nervous system kind of meets it there. And it just feels like it's supposed to be happening. And it doesn't feel like this rush. It almost just feels like, oh, another day. This is weird because I thought it would be this big thing. And it's just another normal thing. So it's like, it just feels normal. Like I feel so grateful. But it's almost like the journey was more beautiful than now that it's happening. It's just like, oh, I'm doing the next thing.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of authors, I don't know if you feel this, but a lot of authors talk about how by the time it's actually out, you're almost like over it a little bit. You're like ready for your next project.
Yes.
And you want a new topic.
Yes. It's funny. Like
that's how I feel always.
Yeah. No, it is. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say never say never, but I don't know if I'll ever be over plasma. But yeah, like this book, I'm over because I'm already excited and pumped about like my fantasy book I'm writing or like and the second book of this, which is like, it's going to be called A New Science, and it's already in my head. So yeah, I'm bursting at the seams with all this stuff, and it's almost like this is my child. I gave birth to it, and it's out. It's not mine anymore. Like it's mine, but it's other people's as well, I guess. A creation for them to make their own thing out of. And then it's living its life, existing. I can let it go, and now I have to create my new child.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it adds. How long did it take you to write that?
Yeah, it's literally a child because it took me 9 months. So I had the idea 5 years ago. Not even the idea. It kind of just popped in my mind, like fully formed, as 3 books actually, but that would have been way too big. It would have been 3 times that. And then for 4 years I didn't write it because I was like acting and directing, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, it was kind of like I was refusing my, call to my journey. And then my dad passed, and I was like, I'm just going to start actually following like my heart, my destiny versus trying to get validation. Like, what if I die tomorrow? Like, it just made, I don't know, it made me change my outlook on everything. And then, I started it in December, January, and then I finished it, editing it in like August, September, and published it September 9th. Like I finished it right before I published it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually you have a year, like for publishers, because I self-publish it, you finish it and then you have a year to record the audiobook before it comes out, all this stuff. You get to breathe from it. I didn't get that. So I just put it out there and then I went right into marketing it. So it's like a interesting experience.
Yeah. That's a pretty big like paradigm shift that you just said. You're like, okay, I'm going to start living for myself.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I when I had that moment in my life, it was like before that moment, after that moment.
Yes.
Foundationally.
No, that's how it was almost, so I was in LA and I've always been like myself. I'm sure you can agree, like with yourself. Like I've always thought my own way. I've always been like, you know, just uniquely me, not following any crowd. But at the same time, I had this paradox where I was always, for many reasons, inside myself feeling empty, searching for warmth, like outside myself, grasping for things, validation, love, warmth, fun, aliveness, like all this stuff I just numbed myself to inside, even though I still thought my own way, was like naturally curious. And in LA, that's like a, you know, recipe for disaster. And thank God, like I had enough, you know, wherewithal and values to not get caught up in much. But still, even for me, like even just hanging out with someone I didn't really like, because I was like, oh, like, you know, maybe they'll help me make this movie. Like honestly, like and it's horrible that's what people do fall into sometimes. And or like even just thinking that I needed to like do auditions all the time because I wanted to act, instead of what now it's like, if I want to act, I'll just like maybe find something. Like I don't really want to audition all day. Anyway, from going from that to like, no, I'm just gonna live life for me, not be in any box, have fun, love my life, make mistakes, and do what I want to do, and not think about like how I'm presented or branded or set up. I feel like a free bird.
Yeah, I know. It's life changing.
Yeah.
Well, why do you feel like before you were more worried about how it was presented?
Yeah, like myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because I think it was my own mind structure conceptions. I think in childhood, just, you know, first, and I'm not like a victim to life, but I think I felt that way for a long time. Just, you know, being adopted. And I think a lot of children who have been adopted, just even if they don't really realize it, they innately subconsciously have this thing of like, I'm not good enough. I was, you know, tossed away, even though I know that's not the case with my birth mom. I've met her. Feeling like an alien, kind of like you're not really 100% connected to anyone. Because even though I met her, it's like I wasn't raised by her, so I'm not 100% connected to her. I'm not 100% connected to like my family who raised me, because I knew I was different still. And I was just like this one thing kind of floating and existing. And I think same with friends, like I just always was searching for like myself really, or that connection that I was kind of ripped away from as a, I think, baby. I think that's really the foundation of where it started, and it spiraled and happened with friends and boyfriends and the jobs, but it all started with that original like pattern, I guess. I just have always been chasing that. And then, you know, in the past few years through therapy, like through internal family systems, somatic therapy, because I don't like cognitive behavioral therapy. It never did anything for me. I have found that I'm searching for something that I can now give myself. I can now give myself warmth and find aliveness and joy within me. And I shut that off due to a lot of trauma with like bullying and abuse and stuff. And it was easier because if I let my intuition run rampant like I do now, as a child, it's almost like I picked up on all this stuff happening that was so horrible that I almost wouldn't have been able to survive. So it's easier to think that I was horrible and bad and to numb myself. Because if I had to live with the reality of what was really happening, I don't think I could have lived with that reality. So I think, you know, when we come back to our intuition, and maybe you can agree with this, right before the intuition, there's all this fear and gunk. And I kind of had to get through that. I don't even know if I answered the question. But.
Yeah. I mean, what you said, I can relate to.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, not being able to like cope with like what the actual reality in front of me was. So then it just became this internal thing. I mean, yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
It's like, so have you always felt intuitively connected? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't even really something I thought about, but like just how I thought, I guess. Like, you know, I was having, you know, paranormal experiences as a kid. Now I call them like multidimensional experiences, which I'd love to get into. But I had so much fear and trauma as a kid that they felt more like, negative or scary, I guess, when I was a child.
Like what kind of experiences?
Yeah, good and bad, but mostly bad. Just every night in my room, like feeling almost like haunted or like there were presences there. A lamp flew across my room once, I remember, which feels like fake, but that really did happen.
Yeah.
I was not sleeping. Once, like, this hand grabbed my bed. I just always scary stuff.
Yeah.
Sleep paralysis every day of my life from like 4th grade on. I was like constant sleep paralysis, having hallucinations of, demonic figures, witch figures, like once again, all negative stuff because this energy that I actually think was visiting me and part of my family or like a very benevolent energy, it was reflecting my fear and trauma. So I was seeing negative things because it's what I'll get into, but I kind of call they come in these like plasma suits, these energy suits that reflect our subconscious. And then if you can get past that, that's when you see the real seed of what's there. But I couldn't get past that because I was, most of us are just seeing projections all the time.
Yeah.
So like dreaming things that would happen, feeling everyone's feelings when I walk in the room.
Do you still have sleep paralysis?
So yes, but almost never.
Okay. When did it start to go away?
I would say within the last like probably year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just had it for the first time actually 3 nights ago, which is funny, but I've been really stressed. But I think more like a staircase, kind of like, coming back to my feelings of like joy and aliveness and like, humanity. I've had it less just because stress is normal. It's almost like we just don't know how to actually deal. Like bubbles have stress and then they, they work with stress and kind of balance out. Like we're a bubble, right? And we just don't know how to deal with it, right? And thinking more that it was like telling myself I'm stressed and tired instead of realizing that like people, like artists go on tour every day and they're fine and I'm stressed if I have like something for a weekend. It was almost like reminding myself that these were like mind structures I had. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Well, how do you make sense of the sleep paralysis?
Oh, the sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
So I've been at the Monroe Institute a couple times and I've read a book, Journeys Out of the Body, and they were saying when you go out of your body, you get sleep paralysis, right? You can get it right before that and also when you're coming back in. And I think in my sleep, I do a lot of traveling. So with that said, if I'm also in that state of fear and it's almost like that middle layer between you and this like intelligent, beautiful reality, I get trapped in that like kind of like middle 4th dimensional state of like, archetypes and shadows and also good stuff and ancestry and magic.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I, just not in that really free state. I'm very rigid. I've been very rigid. And I get stuck in that middle state where I'm coming back and going out of my body. I get, that's where the sleep paralysis happens.
Yeah.
So I think it's just literally, it's a mix of stress and the fact that I like astral travel a lot, I guess.
Do you think anything would have helped you as a kid?
With the sleep paralysis? Yeah. Yes. I think if someone actually told me that's what was happening, because the first time it happened, I thought I had my mom's beeper in my hand in 4th grade. This is like 1999, I think. And I remember thinking I was being electrocuted because I just couldn't move.
Yeah.
I had this beeper in my hand. But I think the problem is I don't think I knew what the word was. So it was hard to tell someone what was going on.
Yeah.
So I kept it in. But I think if there was maybe therapists who were more educated and could ask children about these things, like, are you having these experiences? That would have been great. So if maybe people just asked questions that were not just like by the book psychology questions. Also I was never asked like, is someone touching you, is someone hurting? Like it was more just I was the one acting out, I was the monster, and they were trying to like medicate or make me like fit into something instead of seeing what was underneath it.
I asked that because people ask me that a lot when I was a kid with all my experiences. What would have helped, because like a lot of parents have kids that are having these experiences and they're like, how do I help? So and I say I'm like, I always just wish I had somebody who like listened to me, and helped me have language or got curious, because it was a lot of just, oh no, you're fine, it's just a nightmare, like can I get over it,
Yes. Same.
So
or give me like tons of Benadryl and put me to sleep and drug me back to sleep.
But you only know what you know. So thankfully there's a lot more nowadays
there is
coming out.
But there should be like in school, they're literally just like we should be taught about like how to do taxes. Like there should literally be this kind of like more mystical person who's still like integrated and grounded with therapy. I think every kid should be talked to about these things, and not just to put in like not just to be, I mean, this is a real thing because I was in gifted programs, but not just to be like who will be best for like a government and genius kids, right?
Yeah.
Like also like who are just gifted and like needs support.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I really want to make like Jedi school.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's just so much to do.
It's the whole thing. I know.
Yeah.
Too many projects.
I know. Eventually I will get more into helping kids though. I feel like I'm still healing my inner child, but I would love, like, I'm 36 now. I would love like my 40s to be more about like helping the children of humanity.
Yeah. They definitely need it. I mean, I will work on a lot of kids, like my clients' kids, and it's really helpful.
Oh my God. I bet you it is.
Yeah.
You're like what they need.
I know. I relate to them a lot.
Yeah.
So it's a whole thing. Well, I also wanted to ask you, like, your brain is so fascinating.
Thanks. That's so nice.
You read so much.
I do.
And you integrate so much and connect so much. Have you always been like that? Or have you always just been like, it's like the amount of information you take in?
Yeah. I know.
What is that like?
Yeah. So I was like that as a child. And then once again, that's not like how school likes, like just because I kind of flip through books. I read really fast, but they want you to do certain things. So I wasn't really nurtured. So I went away from it for a long time. And then, when I was like about 30, when I started meditating, that was like my first kind of paradigm shift, like coming back to my own, inner child, inner wisdom. Doing transcendental meditation. Then it kind of evolved to my own kind of stuff because I don't like rules. But I did like doing that. It was a great gateway. When I was doing that, then it's almost like my brain came back into me, like my body brain. And I started thinking again in patterns and webs. And it's like something reopened that I had closed off. And I mean, it's weird. It's almost like a flow state. Like for this book, like I didn't pick what books to read or what to research. Like everyone's like, oh, you research so much. I'm like, I literally didn't though. Like books, it's almost like if you're aligned in flow of reality, I just would read things and I was like, oh, that relates to this. Oh, right. The next book. Oh, and it's just like these things find me and I find them. And that's just, and when I'm just in a natural curious state, that's how it happens. And then if I try to be rigid, everything falls apart. And right now I'm in one of those states where I've been more rigid, or it's like I'm not in a reading phase and I almost feel like I'm doing something wrong, but it's also like it's a balance. So it's like, but I get annoyed with myself. I'm still working on that. I don't know.
No, I love it. I mean, I can tell it's just like you're weaving in what you're already familiar with.
Yes.
And I like it reminds me of, like, for me, there's so much outside, like I love watching movies, love reading books, like everything like non-academic, because, and I don't even know why I'm so drawn to all this stuff, but I just have to dive into it. And it always comes up later, like if it's in sessions with people, if it's like on call, it's like, and I'll bring up all these references and people are like, but I had to know it in that moment. But if I hadn't followed all of those pings, I wouldn't have that. And people are like, how did you, like I just had read it, right? Like I didn't know I was going to need it now, but like you come in the moment and I did need it now.
You can't ever know. There's a great quote in the Golden Compass, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's like to know your destiny and to fulfill your destiny, you can't know you're fulfilling your destiny. And it's the same kind of thing. Cause once again, when people ask that, it's almost like I get very amped up and I want to like do it more. Right. Almost like I want to impress people. And then it's like, but the only way we get in these states is when we're naturally curious and following our heart and curiosity and awe is how we bring these things in and then can help people with those. But if we like know what we're searching for, it's almost like logic comes in and that's not in the natural flow. So it's just this thing. Yeah. That's so same thing. Yeah. And it's also good too to like, I find in some books, people will say things and I know they got them elsewhere. And like, it's not like we can always reference everything, but like sometimes people never reference anyone. And I'm like, there's so many people who have like contributed to my knowledge. Like I love shouting people out. Yeah.
Well, I love that it's like a lot of, I don't know, like fantasy books
I
or
love-
like it's
yeah.
like other, it's not just like science.
That's what I was gonna say.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so valuable. I think for people to start to understand these aren't all separate things. They're all just different language for the same exact thing. If it's science, if it's mythology, if it's like all of it's the same, right? Like it's value of archetypes. And I think the more people start to bridge that gap, we're going to have a lot more conscious awareness of the knowledge we already have. Yeah. But because people keep them separate, I think people miss out on what's going on.
You're so smart. No, I think the same thing though. That's why. That's why I know you're smart. Because I say that my whole next book for this, it's called A New Science, because we need a more holistic science. It's literally not even science. It's bringing mythology and story and emotion, the feminine side of science back in. It's literally what you're saying. Because also what you're saying is so good, because I wanted to speak on this and I forgot. Science and math and physics, these bring in information, right? Zeros and ones, whatever, and certain types of equations. Those are all informations from this more like what I call fourth dimensional field. But that same exact field comes through mythology and story and what I call hidden information. And I won't get into the science of it too much, but I call it like antiphotonic light. It's more like dark light, and you don't get it from logic. You get it from sensing and feeling, and emotions actually have these packets of information. And how do these things travel throughout history? They've traveled in story. So when we read fantasy, Albert Einstein said, if you want your children to be smart, read fantasy and read more and more fantasy. And all the scientists, they don't read other science books for the most part. They read more mythology and science and fantasy, because that holds just as much. They're like portals for me. And when I read the words, it's almost like it just comes through, and I'm not trying to do anything. And then I'll come up with new science ideas from reading fantasy and mythology. So thank you for saying that too, because it's so important. I have to read more of those. I have to get more on it.
It is.
It's so true.
Well, that's why I was talking to it, like anything that's channeled is valuable because of the frequency it conveys. Like if you're watching a dancer, like I'm like, watching like the figure skating, and I'm just like seeing somebody in a channeling state, like in a pure flow state, or like you're reading, a fiction book, like these things that are just pure channeled flow, like then that taps you into that frequency, and then like that opens up your awareness and it just drops in. And so most people don't spend enough time just consuming those things, because that just helps you drop into that energy stream,
the stream. It streams in, then you co-create with it in your own way, and it opens you up to it. Because I hear a lot of scientists and mathematicians, and it's so hilarious. And I think I was like this for a week, very closed-minded. They're like, if I read other people's things, I'll be influenced by them. I'm like, good. Like when I was in my my most smart, whatever you say, like my first year, I feel like of when this work started really coming to me, I was reading everything and so open. I wasn't thinking about anything rigid or my own frameworks. Like I was just existing and open to everyone. And then I could read something and be like, oh, I don't agree with that, but this I love. And then like I'd always be like, oh, but this too. Like it's just multidimensional. Science.
And I think just how like our fields respond. Like I always feel like anytime I'm reading something, I have this whole other dialogue like separately off of like one sentence, and like my consciousness goes into this I'm like, whoa, but like that sentence triggered this whole other thing on my consciousness. And I think a lot, like we need energy, we need something to respond to that then takes us somewhere.
We need interaction.
Interaction is super important.
We need another bubble to come in.
Exactly.
With our bubble and create a third bubble of 100%. Page.
It's like how a conversation is going to bring more than me just sitting and thinking with myself, right? Like it takes you somewhere else. So, but I was so curious about that with your brain.
Thanks for asking.
When did you start to get really into plasma? Or like, how did this come about?
So meditation. So never heard of the word in my life. I obviously saw like a plasma ball when I was younger. Didn't know it was plasma. The like, balls from Spencer's or, if anyone knows that store, if you're like 30 or above. But I was doing transcendental meditation. I had just started. The first time I meditated, I was in this like fractal pink womb. I didn't know it was plasma, but I knew I was from there. I will go back there. It was just this beautiful space. I was like crying. It was the most blissful experience of my life. I was on no drugs or alcohol. First time ever meditating. Second time I meditated, was terrified. I like landed back in my body. It was a horrible experience because once again, when you land back in that, first you come up with fear before the joy. And then like from the third or fourth or fifth day, all of a sudden, I've told this story so many times, but I always think of like new things. But I was in the last like minute of my meditation, and I can't even like say it in words, but I'll try. Like I saw an infinity symbol, or maybe or I wrote one on a Post-it note, and I wish I kept it. I'm so annoyed I didn't. And I like connected like them together, and I was like, oh, they're connected like by this secret thing, all these weird things. And I was like, wait, plasma is a feedback loop. It's intelligent. It's a vehicle for consciousness. And then it's like I knew, it was like a block though of information. I knew everything at once. It was like this gnosis. And I was like, it's like the divine feminine. It's been suppressed forever. And science is only studying one part of it. Mythology's been talking about it. Kind of like we're saying, I applied multidimensional science to it instead. So my book is literally applying linguistics, art, mythology, science to this elephant that is this unicorn that is plasma. And we've only been looking at it in the lens of science. But what's so amazing about it is it's the same thing as, we call energy that's been around I'm not discovering anything. It's just like, chi, prana. It's this new name I'm attaching to this very ancient thing that has always been here. That's the divine feminine. And when you attach kind of a new name to it, it unlocks more information about it. But I just knew everything about it. And then my higher self also came in through this like cosmic campfire of plasma and was like, you're going to write a book called A New Force. You're going to co-create this in your reality. I have it here. But this is like an emergent reality. It's not deterministic. Like we're creating our futures, and that, I was going to be out. And then 5 years later, here it is.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So tell me, how does science define plasma? And then how do you define plasma?
Sure. So actually, science definition is changing, which I'm really excited about. And it's validating everything I've said. And I'm almost like, you're copying me. But really, it's the truth. And they're figuring it out because there are other smart people besides me in the world. But it was defined as an ionized gas, the fourth state of matter. That's the boring definition, but there is solid, liquid, gas, and then a plasma. And it's basically that the electrons become free like little birds, and it makes it able to be conductive, and also electromagnetic waves start to be able to shape it. And just a very simple thing is it's lightning, it's the aurora borealis, it is neon signs, that's a cold plasma that have very hot electron activity within it, but it's cool to like the touch. And then there is 99.9% of visible matter is made of plasma, right? So everything's made of it basically, and we never learn about it because it's also been, hidden because of national security, fusion, government research that is a real thing. So we don't really learn about it. And my definition is there is a plasma that goes beyond the fourth state of matter. It is a finer kind of neutral, dimensionless, not even particle, but like spheral, I guess you could say. It's the substance that makes up your dreams, if you think about it. So it is a multidimensional, living, sentient ether fabric of our reality. And it can be, it's the vehicle for consciousness, for intelligence, for information. And I kind of have, in my book, kind of go into these three layers, the plasma that makes up our reality, this fourth dimensional layer, Akashic field, time is, past, present, future. And then there's like fifth dimensional, which is like the finest plasma, or finer plasma. And it's like, or our higher selves live, God, whatever you want to say, outside time and space completely. And then, there's like this dimensionless, minuscule thing that makes up all of those, like a big plasma painting that we're all in. And it's, the divine feminine, it's sentient. It is not conscious, but it's the, intelligent clay that consciousness molds to create reality. It's, the receptive quality, the cosmic mirror. There's so many ways, Isis, Inanna, Mary Magdalene, the womb of creation, and that we're all kind of, our consciousness and plasma are working together to create the divine child or reality. So that's kind of how I'd say it in a nutshell. I know that was a lot, but.
So... Like, do you define it as basically like everything in the non-physical? Like, is that all plasma? Or would you say plasma is the, like, so I find this really fascinating because like I can really wrap my head around it. I think the closer to this density we get, like I can really wrap my head around it. But I'm trying to map it onto like when I'm working in different densities and like I'm trying to map it onto what I see,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm like, is all of this different layers of plasma and it's all plasma?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because I think where my head goes just from my like conditioning of like is like it would be like the denser, right? So if I'm working in other densities and like how you architect a field essentially, like you go to different dimensions, you can actually architect and mold, and other places you can't. Yeah. Right. So like if I want to build out a template, I'm going to go into the etheric realm and like build out a template there. Right. Yeah. Like if I'm actually going to like rework a patterning, I'm going to go into the quantum, and that's like end, send, done. Right. Like I'm not going to be able to retemplate or move anything in the astral. Like that's just like a shit show. Right. So it's like, I'm going to go different places depending on what I want to work with. Yeah. So like, I think where my head goes is like, okay, plasma is more like the moldable
substance. That's what it means in Greek is moldable substance.
But so the way what you're saying, it's like it's every layer of the field, and there's just like it's just like what do you call like finer parts? Yeah.
Sure. So basically, if it's this neutral substance, right, that synergizes or kind of bounces off, harmonizes with our consciousness or with information or intelligence, which are 3 different things, which I'm happy to go into, and you'll probably understand that too. The thing is, since it's more neutral, whatever consciousness is in that space, whether it's astral or whatever realms, that's what it's kind of working with, right? So it might be denser, it might have a different makeup, right? And I don't know exactly what in each level, but I'm sure we'll eventually figure this out. But it's basically that neutral thing that is finer at each level. And then within those levels, there might be like slightly different rules or different makeup, different colors. Like the finest one I've seen to me is very opalescent, very misty, very bubbly. Then for what I call 4-dimensional plasma, that might be more astral for you. But we're all saying the same thing in just different words. It's more like darker, heavier, intense emotion rather than like this awe and bubbliness and fizziness beyond that. And I'm sure there's more layers in between that. And Rudolf Steiner talked about like layers, and that he definitely was talking about plasma, but he just didn't say it. But yeah, that's all. It literally just gives tangibility. Think about like things here are made up of particles or atoms, right, that we're seeing kind of in like light. Those are all like physical. So what makes up the non-physical? I'm just giving really a language to this plasma, as above so below, makes up 99.9% of the non-physical reality, right? And then there's like or 100% in my opinion, and it makes up 100% of this too. The new definition is science. I was going to say that and I forgot. Yeah. Even scientists now with like real degrees, PhDs, because I never went to school, but I just have like a gnosis of this. And yes, I'm well researched, but it feels good when a PhD person does say this. Plasma is now being talked about as a set of behaviors of reality. So that like now, because in material science, we're starting to kind of morph and shape reality. We know it's more moldable than we thought. Yeah. It's really like we're in a plasma ocean, and all the states of matter are just doing plasma behaviors at certain ways. So when they are molding things and shifting things around, that's just a plasma behavior of our plasma reality. And sometimes it's solidified or crystallized, sometimes it's liquefied. So yeah, it's really exciting to know that they're saying that stuff too.
Why is this hidden?
Yeah. So without getting too conspiratorial, there's actually 2 reasons. There's like, a government reason, and there is just like a natural suppression that's not a conspiracy. It's like how things have worked. So just like, children are suppressed because of their like very, energetic behavior, women have been suppressed almost because like maybe men have been scared of like their emotional power, right? And their magic, and men have magic too. Everyone is magic. But why really is this divine feminine suppressed is because I think way back when it was almost like this energy, just like it's alive like us and evolving. Way back when it was more chaotic. Consciousness was more scared of this feminine, right? This plasma. So way back when this was more of like a stormy energy, I guess you could say, consciousness kind of separated from it. We went more into like patriarchy and logic and kind of steered away from emotion. There was this intensity. And it's almost like just like we grow up as teenagers and adults that almost like had to leave the home and individuate. And now for whatever reason at this time, we're kind of coming back to the mother, right? When we're like 30 and back with our mom, we're like, oh, you're not as bad as I thought. But like she's also grown a lot. It's like we're coming back with our like, divine mother. And that's why we're now co-creators, right? And when we're coming back, we've been in this like 3rd dimensional reality for so long. Coming back with this fabric of reality, this emotion, this feeling that makes up our reality, this is the glue to help our consciousness, go to other dimensions, which some of us have always been able to do. But it's like we're all going to kind of do this, and reality is just becoming more of that. Wait, what did you ask again?
Why it's been hidden.
So it was hidden more naturally because there's just a fear of any kind of intensity, magic powers, like almost because they felt like they couldn't control that within them. So they kind of would suppress that. So that's just on a global or like on a huge mythological scale, collectively, how it's been suppressed, if that makes sense. And then in science, unfortunately, when it was discovered, I wrote about this in chapter 2, plasma was discovered in like 1868 or something, called radiant matter. Sir William Crookes addressed the British Royal Society about how, there was like paranormal properties involved and these things he couldn't explain. And then they started calling it ether, the luminiferous ether. And then they disproved that in science with this really stupid test called the Michelson-Morley test that was testing a static ether, but ether's not static. This plasma is not static. It's alive and moving. And also, I think science realized really quickly, I'm just theorizing this, but it is the source of like our magic power of humans to like go beyond control kind of and beyond this, like to be more free again and joyful. And I think, if we were to know that maybe would be hard to, control just people with a government that maybe just, thinks people are better behaved, controlled, not realizing that if you just set us free, we're actually all really good people and that's better that way. So I think there was some kind of innate knowing that it was linked to that. And then also there's just a natural suppression in science because they're like, okay, we can't explain this. Like, we're not going to even look at it. And then the third reason is because they noticed, and, this is in the CIA papers and Russian studies, and I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist, but I've just done this research, that they studied bioplasma and plasma, bioenergetics, all these things that had to do with psychic warfare and tapped into, the fabric of reality. And they realized, and fusion research, which could blow our whole earth up. And they realized really quick that this, this energy, this, Kali, this divine feminine creation and destruction energy could be used in a bad way. So I think until they understood it and got a handle on it, they suppressed it.
Yeah.
And now I think what they're realizing, what I'm realizing, is that it can be used for bad or good. Yes, but it's just like Prometheus giving the fire back to humanity. Like, we need to learn how to work with it with our consciousness. And fusion, they can't figure out clearly. So I think they're kind of like there. I think it's like being opened up to the general public now because like everyone's hit a wall, and they've hit a wall because plasma only will work and behave when you just like approaching the unicorn, when you have an authentic pure soul. Not like you've made mistake. You can make mistakes. I'm an ex-addict. I'm not a pure soul, but I'm authentic. I want to help people. And I think when you approach plasma, this energy in that way, it will reveal its gifts to you like the unicorn. And the government has not been doing that. And that's why they can't figure shit out. And now, they're like, oh, let's see what everyone else has to say.
Yeah. Oh my
God. It's like
God.
a real thing, kind of.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to like what you were saying, I think, about like the history of the suppression of sex magic. It's the same thing, right? Like the women were becoming too powerful because they could heal everyone.
Yeah.
So then they started like saying, you're a whore, you're a prostitute, and making everybody not want to be connected to them so that like they couldn't use their magic. And then it led to this whole thing about sexuality and blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Instead, let's make a place where you have to pay to go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and when I was reading your book, and then I was also at the same time watching the Age of Disclosure documentary. Have you seen it?
No, but I know what it is.
But it's nothing new. But they're talking about how not the Navy. Yeah, was it the Navy?
Like something
like the wrong. Yeah, like basically had seen the ET craft.
Yes.
And we're trying to figure out how they could be going that fast, how this craft would go that fast because it would turn a human into mush. And they were talking about how they figured out that around the craft, there is a bubble. So the craft is inside a bubble, putting them in a different time space reality continuum, separating them from what's going on here. And they were talking about how like, there's this big race between all nations because whoever can figure this out could then put anything they want into that bubble. And I'm like, okay, so that's plasma.
It's plasma. And the funniest
bubble
thing,
is plasma.
yes.
Yeah.
And and all these plasmoids and UAP talk, like most of it is plasma. And if it's metallic, there's this thing called the Jellium model, Jellium. I think I talk about it in either chapter 3, 4, or 5. I cannot remember. And metal has almost the same properties as plasma. Like basically there's a theory that like, when the craft is more plasmatic, it can also present as metal, and when it falls to the earth it becomes metal because there's no consciousness in it anymore. So it kind of solidifies, if that makes sense, because there's no it's not as fluid or shape shifty because there's no consciousness manning it anymore. And sometimes these UAPs are just consciousness like remote viewing us. No one's actually in it, or someone is in it. There's so many of them, or sometimes consciousness is not in it, but either way they're trying to figure it out. And the more we know about plasma and can figure those things out, the less they feel like once again they have control over these things or handle on these things.
Tell me more about the how it can help us reconnect with our magic powers.
Yes. Great question. So there's so many ways. Where do I want to start with this? So the first thing is actually very simple. To connect with plasma, we're always connected with plasma, right? It's our mother. We're always connected to our mother, whether or not we're with her. But if you want to like be in harmony, I guess, with it, just like a family member, there's a few things that help, that are very simple and human. Number one is grounding, just every day, literally doing some grounding breaths and, bringing heaven into earth so we can expand rather than going out of our body. So grounding is very important. Connecting with our heart energy. It has the biggest electromagnetic field. Plasma responds to electromagnetic fields. So if it's a finer plasma responding to our consciousness, we want to be coherent in our field. So, I mean, self-care, feeling your feelings authentically, whether it's anger or sadness or love or excitement. It's not about suppressing. It's about becoming this open system, this open bubble, because we're all bubbles and we're all in plasma and we're crystallized consciousness. And these, interdimensional beings just know how to use it, right? That's why they're doing this too. And we're learning just how to use our bubble. And just, I think also, this is just true and what works for me, and it's a very human answer as well. There's not some like esoteric like secret. And with connecting with your magic, the number one thing for connecting with my magic has been healing my trauma. The more and more I connect with my body, the more and more I heal my trauma from this life and past lives, the more I break my limiting beliefs, the more I feel my own sensations and intuition, the more I've had like these kind of like unique powers of like clairaudience and feeling energy again, and being able to co-create with reality, because I know I can kind of like control my output. What I can't control what maybe I think, because that's coming all in this plasma, right? It's resonating with me, but I can heal that and kind of control my output. And not being scared if you think one negative thought, because you can think other positive thoughts, and that's not going to doom you. That's actually there for you to heal it. So those are just some like human ways, I guess. And then I'm trying to think of like more fun ways. There's so many. I mean, it's just simple. Like plasma is the fabric of reality. So like this is like in the future, but if you think about it, where we're going is like eventually we will be able to like materialize stuff, right? Because it's just playing with that fabric of reality. It's also like healing, like Reiki, like that's just plasma energy. So and with Nikola Tesla saying like everything's an energy, frequency, and vibration, I think secretly frequency just, it doesn't mean like tuning it to a certain frequency, but just like the frequency you actually do it. So plasma, the more you work with it, the more you recognize it, the more it sees you. So it's just about setting the intention, connecting with it, connecting with your inner plasma, your magic power, being in relationship with reality. And I can't really say what magic powers people have because they're very unique. All I know is that whatever's meant for you and your highest good, you'll start having magic powers. Yeah.
How is this connected to the scalar energy?
Yeah, I think that's like plasma.
That's plasma.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm just like, I think this goes back to what we were saying at the beginning of like, I think different like art science needs to converge, because I always feel like a lot of scientists studying this stuff, I'm like, you should just talk to me, because I can tell you how energy works. Yeah. Of how I see, and then that would probably unlock your scientific brain of the science of it.
1,000,000%.
Like I don't know the science of it, but like a scientist with their brain, if they heard me just talk about how I move energy and what I'm seeing and like the rules of like how it works, of like how do we mold something here. If a scientist heard me, I'm sure they would be able to know, like, explain the science behind it, you know.
Can you tell me a little? Maybe I can think, because I new books about new sciences.
Yeah, I mean, is there something you want to know specifically, you know?
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, with moving energy, I guess, with people's like energy field, because I kind of see these things too, right? So I'm just so curious, but we all see in our own way.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, tell me how you work with that energy of maybe like unknotting something or getting kind of, whatever comes to you. And then I'll maybe try to think about it in my own little holistic science way.
Well, if I'm looking at someone's field, I mean, I'll take more of the lower, like this part of your field, like right here, because obviously there's other parts of your field, like you're just your soul record. But let's say I'm just looking at this part of your field. Yeah. That's more, I mean, it's not 3D, but it's 3D. Right?
It's like more
tan. Yeah. It's like right here. That part of you, how big is your bubble? Yeah. What's in it? And like how dense is it? What color is it? Yeah. Some people have like people in there and objects in there, and sometimes it's really dense and thick. It shouldn't be thick. It should be open. A lot of people have holes in their field. Those should be sealed up. Whenever people have, like, in their actual body, right? People will have the actual energy running through their body should be a specific color and density in alignment with them. So one is they have to be plugged in with like source frequency. It has to be running, but then their actual like soul code energy has to be running too.
That makes sense.
So you have to, so it's a lot of what I'm doing. It's like, it's same thing as lymphatic work, right? Yeah. Like my first like lymphatic practitioner, she was like, some people, their lymph is like cottage cheese, and I need it to move into like yogurt and then milk. Yeah. And it's like that with your energy field too. Like it should be like milk, not cottage cheese. Yeah. Right. So there's that. People have actual like disconnection in places. But I think what's interesting is in the field, you're just seeing representations of stuff, right? So some people have a lot of spirits or guides or whatever, and other people don't have any of that. It just looks like straight energy,
like images, like yellow balls, like I'll say like yellow balls,
right? But it's all the same. It's showing me how they relate to things.
It's like holographic, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I don't know, I think like it's almost like if a scientist is talking about something, like I had this conversation with somebody before. They were talking about I was on a call with somebody studying Tukdom, like where the Tibetan monks are, their bodies are like, they die and their body is totally healthy for a month. And the scientists can't figure out what's going on. And he's talking about this, like, we have no idea, we're studying this and this. And I'm like, well, no, it's because they're plugged into higher consciousness, right? And like, this is how you should test that. But like, people don't even think about it that way. I'm like, you're not finding anything because you're testing the wrong things.
You're asking the wrong questions.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong questions. And I just think if there's a lot more crosstalk between, you know, even like when people meditate or when people intuit, people are not intuiting from the same place. Like it's not as simple as just trust your intuition, because a lot of people, first of all, there's so many layers to intuition. Like there's body wisdom. There's a lot of people's intuition is colored by their biases, right? It's all going to be colored by that and what you've learned and everything. Like we all have filters. But even like beyond that, there are different places we're like intuiting from. Like it's all just different, you know, I don't know, parts of the field, whatever. And even so, like one of the things that I'm training people is like, we're looking at what part of their field they're most connected to, right? A lot of people like will be really connected to a certain realm, right? And you want to work with whatever you're most resonant with, because that's where you can be most effective in the field. Like there's a lot of stuff that's just natural for me, of like working at certain densities. Like it's a lot harder for me to work on like the mediumship level than like I can talk to them, but I can't really like, I mean, I can do stuff there, but it's just easier for me to architect somewhere higher. It's like a lot easier for me to connect on an angelic realm than like traditional spirit guides. Like I don't really like to work with that much.
I'm the same.
Right? Yeah. So it's like things like that, or like, but working with pure energy, because we're just, all I can say is it's like you're getting in a pool, like you're a pool and you want the water nice and flowing, and you want everything and all of your circuits to be flowing. You want your circuits to be connected in the right way. And most people have clunks. They have chunky stuff.
Knots.
Yeah. They have like, I mean, yeah, they have like stuckness essentially.
Yeah, it's
right?
coagulated plasma.
Yeah. And so, but like, I guess the other part of the plasma would be like when you actually have to expand someone's circuits, or like a lot of people actually just like right on the edge of their body, like this part of their field has to get expanded out, and that solves a lot of health issues for people if we just move this out a little bit. Like they need more room there, because you need room in your auric field, but you also need room in this layer of your body, and you need enough room in your emotional body, your mental body, and your causal body. Like you need enough room. So we're like moving that, and then anything that's in there can actually just like pull out or take out that doesn't need to be there, which is anything denser, which is actually like the more dense part of the hologram.
Yeah. So you're basically explaining like our original technology, which is the fact that we're not freaking machines or computers. We're not in a simulated reality. Like we are these living bubbles of plasma and consciousness with all different densities and makeups and tunnels and symbols held in us, and you know, other conscious imprints and all this shit. And this realm is just as normal as like going to a medical doctor, and I think that's becoming apparent now. And yeah, I'm just giving the name for the thing that makes up just the level of that, and there's so much intricacy within that, and resonance and uniqueness and color. But yeah, like the way I would explain kind of what you're saying, in science they call it like quasi-particle. It's like half matter, half not, I feel like, because it's like kind of tangible but not. The like most, you know, the layer right here. And then yeah, like even they talk about in physics and like knot theory, and like how you can only, and even Inanna, the goddess Inanna with a knot, you can only untie a knot by going into this fourth dimension to untie the third dimensional knot. Like you can't untie it in the same dimension. So like there's a lot with that. And then alchemy and coagulation and and you're decoagulating things. But yeah, I mean, and I'm so glad you're saying this, because like it opens my mind up again to the whimsicality of the human, and like just the fact that we're all in this fun bubble and we're supposed to be this open, fun system, and there's just more to solve than what's on this physical plane. And you can get creative with it, because like you could see, like me, when I like do little healings, I don't do it that much, but like just when I'm like with a friend and I feel like I'll see like they're just like these 3 circular bubbles over them, and then there's like this black stuff I'm taking out, and then there's like a blue thing here, and I'm like it's more not wondering about what you're seeing, it's more like the meaning behind it, and just like working with it and being with it, and like not a, you know what I mean. But yeah, I think there's science to all of that, and science doesn't have a name for it because it's almost beyond science, but there's like, this will be what my second book is, but there's like a holistic science way. And I think it will be testable to actually like prove what people like you were doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're right there. I think like what you said about the knot is really important, because there are a lot of people I have this conversation with where it's like, well, they'll heal something and they're like, I just don't get how I did all these other things, and like I came here and we fixed it, but none of this other stuff works. And I'm like, yeah, like that's the point. Like, you know, like
it's not that hard. It's not supposed to be.
But what you were saying about it actually has to be coming from another dimension. Yeah. Like you can't solve a problem at the frequency of the problem
with the same mind that created it.
And that's what almost everybody is trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to come into it from another angle. And I think for me, there's so many things people come to me like wanting to shift or heal or change, and I do it from the lens I know how, right? I help them in the lens I know how. And I think health is a good example. Like I was so deep in the health space, and like I left it because this was working better. It just like, I mean, there weren't enough biohacks to fix it, you know, and because I had really severe health issues, and like this did. And
a good cry is better than any medication sometimes.
It is.
Like just feeling
it is
energy work.
But I just think unless people start really understanding energy and frequent plasma, right? Yeah. We are hitting our upper limit of what we can fix, and like we're going to have to work with this to fix things.
We'll keep getting sick.
Yeah,
which is why everyone's sick. It's not because the world's ending. It's like we're hitting that wall because we found a great Band-Aid. You know, like the medical community medication, all those things. Like, you know, everything, like Band-Aids. And most of them are not great, actually, but I'm just not trying to like blow up the whole medical community. Like, we've found a great Band-Aid, but like if we don't start fixing the root and going into energy and other dimensions and understanding there's like an emotional side to this, and then maybe it won't even happen in the first place. Like, I think, yeah, we're rubbing up against the wall, and now it's like we have to create from the ground up again with energy rather than materials stuff. And I think that's what people like us are doing. And yeah, I mean, I never get sick, and the only time I do is when I think about it, or like I don't manage my stress well, or you know, I don't know. I'm just speaking me personally. Like, I don't take medication. I have so much trauma. I could have been diagnosed with everything under the sun, and I have been in the past. Not everything, but I didn't let that define me. Like, I just did work on my energy body and my trauma, and you can't diagnose me with any of those things now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I hate that people are told they have this immune disorder, or they're sick, or they have this certain anxiety, and it's totally reversible.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think that's why this is so, it's like if people actually started learning about this, and I guess from the scientific lens, that's more accessible for people. Like, a lot of people would actually start to heal, because I'm just like, how do you think cancer happens?
Emotion.
Like, how do you think any of this even gets created in the body?
Yeah.
And I think that's honestly one of the benefits of like EMFs, is it's forcing science to look at like how just frequency signaling is causing health issues that are measurable, right? Like, it's destroying our guts, it's destroying our brains. And so it's like, okay, this non-physical frequency is creating this in the body. And I feel like that is a good lead in for people to start to understand, like frequency, it's the same energy thing as like the frequency of an emotion. You know?
Hello. Yes, that's such a good point. Yeah. I was going to say something now. I forgot. I forget.
It's okay. I am curious, like, from the lens of plasma, how do you feel like that that helps us tap into like telepathy?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I was just on a panel with Diane Hennessy Powell of the telepathy tapes.
Yeah.
I only listened the first season, but she talks about telepathy and the kids with autism who have telepathy. So yeah, literally plasma is the vehicle for consciousness, which means it explains how telepathy works. So if there is this energy, this field that holds our consciousness, it would make an information, you know, that we could tap into at any time. It's just more about being open to that field and open to the information coming through, and not logic, but taking things in with feeling and sensing. That can help us start to learn telepathy. And I'm not a telepathy expert. Obviously, I'm not completely telepathic, so I can't tell people exactly how to do it, but I think I can explain the science behind it with plasma. So basically, yes, plasma, if it's this fabric of reality, this energy that, you know, the river of consciousness is flowing through, and we are each like this crystallized consciousness in this field, but we can liquefy our consciousness, same as when you astral project, or you know, are having intuition, or mystify your consciousness. There's, you know, you can be telepathic. That, I mean, it's just completely possible. It's really as simple as it's just the vehicle for consciousness. So it explains that telepathy is all in this field. With that said, I do think it's important to realize telepathy is like, I don't know if I should say this. There's a reason. Okay. Because it is true, and I have to say this. There's a reason that, you know, in the news, you know, and I'm taking remote viewing at Monroe next month, right? Like, so like remote viewing, telepathy, they're looking for these very popular traits in people, right? But these are all weaponized. It can be weaponized. There's so many magic powers in the human that are not publicized or taught yet, maybe, that maybe don't need to be, maybe they do, but like that are not mainstream, that can make your life even like telepathy is cool, right? But like, and so is remote viewing, but like how are these things actually going to help us in our life? Like, we can talk. So I mean, sure, we need telepathy, but like only if we're in like a secret room, like doing some military operation. Like, so I think what's really important is learning your own unique magic power of like co-creating, you know, reality to, you know, your highest good. Like maybe developing your clairaudience, your connection with your higher self, or how to determine like, okay, is this my higher self visiting me? Or is this like your higher self visiting me? Or maybe like a trauma memory visiting me, and learning to decipher, like diving more into ourselves and our own energetic realms, and, you know, working like with people with you, like going more into our own unique bubble of magic, and just seeing, or like even like for me, there's so many magic powers, but like when I close my eyes, if I really get into like the funness of magic powers, sometimes I'll like like I'll be in like another realm, like I can see other worlds and just like, but it's not about even being fantastical with it. It's like, what meaning can we bring back from these experiences and apply to our life and shift our choices and heal ourselves and bring into our reality and integrate it with reality. Like, for instance, I'll have, a vision, let's say of this, blue monkey on the moon dropping a key in my throat. Like, okay, cool. What does that mean for my life? How's that going to help me? Like, and then I'll start to feel into that vision instead of like ChatGPTing it, even though we all do that. I'll feel into it. And and sometimes I'll Google like what the symbolism is. And I'm like, okay, that felt expansive to me. That felt powerful. Oh, like maybe it was reminding me of my inner power. Oh, there's this thing going on right now where I can either, do my podcast or write my fantasy book, but I feel like I can't do both. What feels expansive to me there? Oh, my book does. And almost just like feeling into the essence of these things, which are really just trying to crack us open to our own messages. I don't know. There's just so much more beyond like what's like these things being popularized. Yeah. So I just want to remind people of that.
I mean, I agree. I think the remote viewing, I am always just like, what are you doing with that? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm excited to learn it just because it connects me more. I'm more just interested to open my mind and connect with my heart than actually learn the skill.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a helpful skill, but there's so few like ethical uses for it. No, it's like, oh, fuck, like where are my keys? Like that. But yeah. And I think it's like kind of what we were talking about earlier about people in the spiritual industry of, okay, if I can go see, if I'm like looking at another place, like some whimsical, magical place, like how am I bringing that into my reality here? Like, what am I supposed to take from it versus
if I have the vision of the blue monkey and then I write a book about it, make a brand off it for 10 years, spiritual bypassing myself, not helping anyone, telling them they're all from Blue Monkeyville and I have these keys for them when that helps no one.
100%, I like, well, and that's kind of like the question of just like, what's real?
Yeah. I would love to speak on that.
Please. Yeah.
I think what's real is different to me and you, right? And there's some obviously collective reality, but what matters for the people listening and you and me is what's real to me is real to me. What's real to you is real to you, but doesn't mean what's real to you is real to me. And the most important part and sometimes we both can overlap. When you are seeing these visions, it's more about the meaning than the vision. Meaning, if you see Jesus or if you're told you're God, don't rush to think you're Jesus, you're God, rush to Christianity. Like, let it open and unfold to you and realize there's a meaning, that archetype or image is coming to you. There's meaning and feeling behind all this. And then you apply that meaning to your life and integrate it. And once again, whatever's for your highest good or path of least resistance, these things are coming into your bubble. This stream is co-creating with your stream to what's best for you. That doesn't mean you're supposed to preach it to all of the world. That might be a private message for you. And then there are times where you do want to preach what you've integrated and learned in reality. But if you rush to preach the first vision you see, like a past life of Atlantis, and then you just rush to talk about Atlantis for 20 million years, you're missing the point. You're missing integrating it and taking maybe that month to yourself, and maybe something even more human or beautiful or whimsical will evolve from that. But yeah, so I think in the future and now, I think realizing that what's true to someone, we can respect what's true to everyone, right? But there's also discernment. And is that person integrating it? Are they spiritual bypassing? Are they using this to manipulate people? Are they trying to make more money? Are they in their heart and just being a natural, curious person and want you to feel better? Like, have they done their own trauma work? Like, there's so much there in that bubble to figure out. And that's why like discernment matters. But also while you have discernment, letting someone's truth be their truth because that's their journey, and not like being violent with someone or like casting them out because of their beliefs, but just letting them be in their bubble and then go to more bubbles that you resonate with. And then realizing you guys are co-creating your own reality, because at the end of it, it's all kind of neutral and we're all just telling stories. So why just not tell the story that resonates most with us?
Yeah. 100%. Well, I think that's where like it's just that extra layer you said of like that moment of discernment. Because I think this is where like the plasma language is really helpful of just understanding like the field is always talking. Like it's holding information. Right. But people take everything they get in this very literal form. And I think there's a lot more there's more of an energy to feel like an internal meaning. And I find this a lot when I'm training people in their gifts, where they take everything way like too literally. And I'm like, you kind of just like slow down with it and just understand like the field is like communicating something to you.
It's language is mythology.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
how it's gonna change every day. So like I was told once I was like the princess of Nazareth, right? Then if I went with that, I could have started a cult saying I'm princess of Jesus. Like, but it was more the meaning behind it that we're all that.
Yeah.
That was the meaning. Yeah. So like, and you have to integrate it. Like you can't just what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, it's giving you information about like a frequency that moves through you, right? It's like if it's a deeper power, if it's a deeper truth, if it's, you know, whatever part of your magic, right? It's like, and I think that if people start to understand like frequency and like more of that emotional meaning to it, like that's where we're getting like the real activation within ourselves to live life in this way. Yeah. But I think like, and I know you talked about this in the book, but for the podcast, so like understanding plasma, how does it implicate how life started? Oh,
yes. So let me see if I can say this, because this was something that I did research a little, and I don't know if it'll come to the forefront of my mind. So plasma, I think plasma is the main ingredient that actually started life on Earth, but not actually started, but like almost helped stewed consciousness to either come here or kind of come about. And there was a test about it. I don't remember what it's called. It's in the book. But basically, it's kind of like when you're watching War of the Worlds, and you know how those aliens are coming through lightning almost. It's almost like there were these perfect ingredients on Earth. And then if you think about it, what like the soupy kind of Earth, what is going to bring like consciousness into that? It's these like kind of chemical and energetic interactions with this like plasma soup and this electricity, this like plasma soup started. And I think it almost like, I don't know if I said this in my book, this was just what's coming to me in a non-scientific way. It created almost like these conditions for consciousness to be held. It's obviously didn't start here. We all come from somewhere. We're all star seeds, not just one person's stars. We're all from, we're all star seeds if we want to meet that. No one's special. No one's chosen. I hate when people say that because it's not fair. Because I learn more from someone who's not a star seed than says they're a star seed. You know what I mean? But with that said, we can be from different places and maybe some of it, whatever. I go all over the place. I'm so sorry. With this kind of soupy Earth, I think this plasma, this fabric of reality, there are certain conditions that have to come about to first consciousness can pass through any type of plasma. That's why consciousness is kind of running everywhere, but to be able to stabilize it and like a human, right, you need just a certain set of things. And it's about temperature, it's about structure, sacred geometry. There's all these things to stabilize that bubble, right? Our energy field that now holds our consciousness. And maybe it's a different kind of conscious system in animals that where maybe they're not like channeling their 5-dimensional awareness higher self, but they're just more consciousness system that's more like feeling or something. Not going to try to explain what consciousness even is. But yeah, I think plasma is the reason that life started. That's all I'll say about it. I say in the book way more smart, but that was a research part and I cannot pull that in my brain.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of like just in mythology, how often we are made from clay.
Yes.
Right?
That was coming to my head the moment you just said it.
Yeah, and it also reminds me of like clay. Yeah, like it reminds me also of I'll always tell people, I'm like, when I'm writing a book, like I'm told like where to go and when and like exactly what time. And like the room needs to be set up in a certain way. And I'm like, I'm just setting up the vibrational conditions so I can sit down and it just comes in. Yeah. And it's like the same thing, right? It's like it had to be the right temperature, it's like I just like vibrate. Everything has to be lined up so that it can plop in. And it's like the same thing, like bringing life in any way.
You're so right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like whatever conscious beings come through whatever time they're supposed to come through. Like it's that simple, but that complex really. Yeah. Just whatever's for the highest good. Like that's why the world is benevolent and reality is benevolent. Like we're all kind of moving towards just evolving more and more every moment of every millions of years. Like we're all on the journey home together and we're home now. We're not even on the journey home.
Oh my God. Yeah. So since like, I wouldn't say like learning about it, remembering or
both, I guess.
All of it. Yeah. How has that changed like how you live your life?
Oh my God. So much. I think, okay, I'll say a few things, I guess that's just coming to me. Like we can learn so many spiritual things, right? And read books, but the tangibility of having something like plasma in science working like nature, showing me proof like visibly that this is happening in plasma and this is how life works is like undeniable to me, because I'm a skeptic actually, and I'll explain what that actually means. Because like, yeah, you can learn any kind of spiritual, how energy works, but if sometimes like when you see it, that's like shit, like oh my God, this is real. Like, because we all can doubt things from time to time, because it is we're working in this realm of the subtle, and it's like sometimes it's just like oh my God, what's real? Plasma, a few different things. One, I went to this company called Vermeer. They're working with like, I don't know if you call it cold fusion, but just it's called reformation with methane and cleaning the methane into, they separate the carbon and the hydrogen. They make energy with it. I think they make graphene with it, very high quality graphene, I think it's called. But then they have, with working with plasma in secret for like the last 10 years, they found this inexplicable link with consciousness in plasma. And when they would get excited when the machine would work and do all these things, the machine was shut down, right? One thing they realized is when they were in an excitable state or intense state, plasma was not responding to them, but it would, when they were in a state of calm, and not even calm, but like a more whimsical kind of awe or like curiosity, it was working, right? So that's one way. If the fabric of reality is made that way, and this is real and tangible in your life, and it's almost like when I read self-help books and they tell me to do these things, I'm like, yeah, I don't believe you. It's not going to happen. But I see how plasma works. It's like the original nature, and then nature is like fractaled and patterns from that, and then we're a pattern of that. And I'm just seeing all these patterns. I'm like, this works, and I'm seeing how it works, and I can now apply this to my reality. And now I've lived it for a few years, and I've literally gone from being broke to very abundant, and also like very healthy, and very just like feeling good. And I don't know. Anyway, one thing plasma responds to is that state of like, not neutrality is in numb, but neutrality is in like, once again, not knowing you're doing your destiny, but doing it, just like this childlike state of whimsical play, and just like not rigidity or grasping, the state of like what's called negative capability, where you're just doing something and not knowing how you're doing it, but experimentation. And then it also, I had to do this thing where they gave me a mechanical hand, and I didn't know this really, but like your brain has to instruct it to pick up the blocks and close, and there's this box of plasma in between you and the mechanical hand. And I was just like, when I didn't think about how I was doing it, but just like just like this, I'm just picking up and moving it, I was able to do it very fast. Like my consciousness was working with the plasma to pick up the block and told the hand what to do. But the second I got rigid and thought about, wait, I have to tell the hand to squeeze and pick up the block because it's reading my mind, I couldn't do it. And they say more women than men can do it in their thing. And basically the same thing is, you have to be in a state where you're just doing something rather than thinking of how. How do you succeed in life? You don't think about, oh, I have to do this, this, and this to get here. It's more like, you just start it, and then you're in play, and then things just come to you. But it's so hard to be in that state, and scary, because we're so used to like needing tangible proof and thinking about how things will work. But it just proves that we're just here to experiment and play. And like, and I'm like the worst warrior. Like, and this is why this helps me so much, because I've always wanted to be successful and know how things will turn out. And, you know, just know that my life means something, and like, I want to see everything happen now. And sometimes you just don't need to know everything. Like, it just, plasma for some way has taught me I'm held right in this beautiful womb, this mother of creation. And I can just and I'm not saying I'm always like this, but more and more it's happening every day. I can just be joyous or be angry and let whatever I feel, let life unfold, follow my dream. If I change my mind tomorrow, I change my mind tomorrow. And that this being in play and experimenting works better than what I've been doing. And if I also believe something, when you believe something and you feel it in your subconscious, plasma responds to your subconscious. So it is the best motivation to heal trauma, because my limiting beliefs have completely ruined my life. And sometimes I get snapped back in. I'm like, okay, plasma literally, like I have proof now, reflects our subconscious. And now let me freaking work on that. And as I've worked on it, my life's gotten way better. I haven't attracted demons in my life. Like now they're, you know, more like whimsical beings visiting me, and great people in my life. And that my life a few years ago, I was so depressed, so miserable. And then even, you know, teenage years, I was a drug addict. I had the worst life for so long. My life literally was horrible. I don't care how it looked outside. I was suffering horribly. And just to apply literally this to my life, like I am walking the talk 90% of the time, I will say, it's been a beautiful gift. And that's why I tell people this, because I literally do it and live this. Yeah. Yeah, I forget what you said, but hopefully.
No, I love that. That was amazing.
Yeah.
So your book's super comprehensive.
Thanks.
It talks about like the science of it. It talks about how to apply it in your life.
Yes, the mythology.
Is there anything else you want people to know like about it?
Yes, I think it's something I can't say, but hopefully it's coming through, is that we are right now, and this is what plasma kind of wants us to remember, and our higher selves, whatever wants us, right? I think what I have found is most important, and what I would like to share with people is the mystery of life is what we've been missing the past 100, 200 years. The nourishment, the juice of life, the magic. Think about the best times in life. They've been ones you couldn't predict, you couldn't manifest. It's when you're just following the essence or feeling of yourself, and the right guy, the right girl, the right person, the right event, it just finds you and you find it. And like, and like when you're just like, when you're curious and following your curiosity, you just feel like held and supported and like alive. And like, I want to feel more of that. So however I can feel more of that. And I think for me, it's been connecting with the plasma energy, connecting with my own inner essence, following the essence of me. So just like really simple, be yourself. If you don't know who that is, find out. Plasma is literally a mirror to yourself, and connecting with it is like your original mother. Connecting with your consciousness, your higher self, is like your original father. And then these blueprints play out in our life. So why not work on the like original blueprint of consciousness and plasma as your inner mother and father, and connecting with those energies to create magic, and just how magical everyone is. We're never alone. We don't die. There's many consciousnesses after this. We say individuals. We don't seep back into this oneness. It's like a oneness, but we're all still individual. We do retain our memory. The plasma field is memory. So we don't forget everything. Because I've always had a fear of dying, because I'm like, I don't want to go back to the one. I like being me. And like these ego death things, like, yeah, maybe I'm not like Dana in this life, but I'm still this like higher seed of myself. So anyway, whatever I just said is what I want people to know.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah. And I teach magic classes. Everyone take my magic classes. They're really fun. I'm going to market myself because we're in a capitalistic society. And then, my book, or don't take them. Do what resonates with you. But if this calls to you, do it. But it's really just my main goal, no matter what you buy or do for me, is to remind people that they're not alone, because I've always felt alone, and your weakness is your greatest power. And that you have so much inner magic within you. You need nothing outside of you. But it's also cool to interact with things outside of you, because then you learn more stuff. So even though you don't need things, the point is, and I've always needed things outside of me, right? You don't need to need them, but just to be, when you're open to things outside of you, that's when you find what resonates with you. Yeah. So just all of that.
Love it. I'm here for all the magic.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll put links to your book and your magic classes. And I'm excited for your fantasy book.
Thank you. Me too. That's the most exciting thing I've had.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be epic.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. It's great.
Thanks.